Hi, I'm Lila from Nevillution. Today, I'll be commenting on the book It Works by R.H. Jarrett, originally copyrighted in 1926. Now, R.H. Jarrett isn't his actual name. He actually preferred to stay anonymous. Now, the man who wrote this book was a very successful man in his time, and he wanted to remain anonymous, so R.H. Jarrett is just a pseudonym. But he believed a part of his success was in sharing the goodness. And this book is only 12 pages long, because when it comes to the great mystical truths, they're simple. You don't need any more than that. Let us begin. What is the real secret of obtaining desirable possessions? Jarrett says, millions of people in all classes give no thought to what they really want, and so as they are getting all that they are entitled to or expect. If you are one of these millions of thoughtless talkers or wishers, but you'd like a decided change from your present condition, you can have it. But first of all, you must know what you want, and this is no easy task. When you can train your objective mind, the mind you use every day, to decide definitely upon the things or conditions you desire, you will have taken your first big step in accomplishing or securing what you know you want. So what Jarrett is saying here is that most people don't know what they want. Most people just go about their lives, and all they want is what they know, what they're surrounded by. As kids grow up into adults, they often forget to dream. If something doesn't seem possible, they often just forget about it, or it just remains a wish. Do you know what you want? Do you really know what you want? Are you clear on what you want? Well, if you are, in the few steps that there are, you've already taken one big successful step. And if not, this will give you an opportunity to discover what you want, to begin to dream again, and to realize what it would be like to have all that you want. Jarrett goes on, the power is capable and willing to carry to a complete and perfect conclusion every earnest desire of your objective mind. But you must be really in earnest about what you want. Occasional wishing or half-hearted wanting does not form a perfect connection or communication with your omnipotent power. You must be in earnest, sincerely and truthfully desiring certain conditions or things, mental, physical, or spiritual. So the main point that Jarrett is saying here is earnestness. Because we have all kinds of wishes. One day we want this and maybe tomorrow we want another. But there will come a time when you burn for something and it doesn't just go away. It will keep coming back to you, in fact. And when you can respect that wish and remain true to it, that is earnestness. And earnestness, sincerity, is another important ingredient in your efficient success of this. So Jarrett is telling you, when you can become one-pointed, that is when the wonderful, capable power within you can function. Because when you are wishy-washy, and you easily change your mind, whether it's because you don't know what you want or because of fear or doubt, then that power is not able to operate. Then you're not able to fully make that connection and let that divine, omnipotent power operate. Now Jarrett goes on with the plan. Write down on paper in order of their importance the things and conditions you really want. Do not be afraid of wanting too much. Go the limit in writing down your wants. Change the list daily, adding to or taking from it, until you have it about right. Do not be discouraged on account of changes, as this is natural. And there will always be changes and additions with accomplishments and increasing desires. So as Jarrett is instructing, you can do this now and pause this if you need, or you can take mental or physical notes and do it later. So you will write down whatever it is you want, placing what you most want at the top, and allowing yourself to work on this list, and being flexible if you feel to make changes to add or remove something. And also sometimes you may outgrow desires that maybe you wanted yesterday, and maybe today you feel more courageous for something grander, or simply your desires mature and you realize you want something different. It's all part of the process and natural. So enjoy it. Now Jarrett goes on. 3 positive rules of accomplishment. 1. Read the list of what you want 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. 2. Think of what you want as often as possible. 3. Do not talk to anyone about your plan except to the great power within you, which will unfold to your objective mind the method of accomplishment. So looking over these 3 positive rules that Jarrett has listed, as he said, you will want to read this morning, noon, and night. Because morning, when you wake up and maybe you're still a little sleepy, and nighttime, when you also may be getting a little bit sleepy, that is when the magic can most easily happen, when the conscious mind is less likely to resist, and you can fully impregnate the subconscious mind. In noon, for good measure, perhaps after lunch, when you're already full and can just sit back and relax and read your list. In the second step, Jarrett says, think of what you want as often as possible. Now this one is up to interpretation. What does it exactly mean to think of what you want as often as possible? For me, what I would recommend, the best way to interpret this is as follows. As you go about your day, there's little moments where you might find yourself falling into daydream, and that is when you're in a very suggestible state, and that would be a wonderful time to redirect these little daydreams and to feel what would it be like in that moment to have all the things you want. You could choose one thing on your list or a few things, or you could even go so grand as to imagine what would it feel like to have your entire list fulfilled. There's a joy in having the things you want. And this might simply be just a few seconds, several times, or maybe a handful of times in the day. Maybe you're waiting at a traffic light. Maybe you're waiting in a line somewhere. Or maybe you're waiting for a text or phone call. Maybe a lot of people aren't aware of the things that go on in their mind. They're not aware of how their day flows. But this exercise also gives you an opportunity to become more present and to be able to treasure these little moments in your time, knowing that they can bear great fruit and it need not be long, but regardless, continue on as need be. Now in the third step, Jarrett says, do not tell anyone about your plans. And that is because most people are not believers, and even those who say they do, they haven't necessarily experienced it in their own lives. So sometimes people on the outside can magnify the fears and doubts you might have inside. So to go past all this, simply keep it to yourself. Instead, you can have little conversations with yourself, the divine being within you that is in all of creation and beyond creation. If you need to talk, that's who you talk to. And know that this great energy is listening and that you are one with this great energy, even if you might not fully realize it yet. Now, Jarrett does say, in the beginning you may lack faith. Some of your desires may feel unbelievable, unattainable. It's okay, write it down anyways. And Jarrett also says that these doubts, distrusts, and questionings, they're completely normal and natural. But you know, other people have the things they want, so why not you? And you can share these doubts and fears with the depths of your being. And in doing so, you can learn to get in touch with your intuition and wisdom. Now, one other thing Jarrett recommends on your first list, and that is accomplishing the lesser things first. Jarrett says, it is suggested that your first list consists of only those things with which you are quite familiar, such as an amount of money, or accomplishment, or the possession of material things. Such desires as these are more easily and quickly obtainable than the discontinuance of fixed habits, the welfare of others, and the healing of mental or bodily ills. So as Jarrett is saying, if this is your first list, then focus more on material things. And as your faith grows, you can go to more abstract things, such as changing habits or dealing with health or with others. Now, many people who have the habit of living by the left side of the brain, the more rational side of the brain, they may want to figure out how is all this possible. And here is what Jarrett says on that. There is no need to analyze how this power within you is going to accomplish your desires. Such a procedure is as unnecessary as trying to figure out why a grain of corn placed in fertile soil shoots up a green stalk, blossoms, and produces an ear of corn containing hundreds of grains, each capable of doing what the one grain did. If you will follow this definite plan and carry out the 3 simple rules, the method of accomplishment will unfold quite as mysteriously as the ear of corn appears on the stalk, and in most cases much sooner than you expect. So the ways of God, the divine, the power within us are sometimes mysterious to the rational mind. And since we have learned not to question certain things, like why does a grain of corn blossom and do what it does, we too can take that attitude in this as well, for this will allow us to move past the rational left side of the brain into the imaginative, unlimited, miraculous power of the subconscious mind and beyond. Now, Jarrett also talks about some signs to know if you're progressing. Jarrett says, when new desires, deserving position, at or about the top of your list come to you, then you may rest assured you are progressing correctly. And he also adds, removing from your list items which at first you thought you wanted is another sure indication of progress. With what Jarrett says here, I feel that when these things happen, it is showing you that you're getting in contact with that divine spirit within you and getting more clear about what you truly want and going all out to have everything. Now, another thing that Jarrett talks about is putting things down in detail. Jarrett says, put down on your list of wants such material things as money, home, automobile, or whatever it may be, but do not stop there. Be more definite. If you want an automobile, decide what kind, style, price, color, and all of the other details, including when you want it. If you want a home, plan the structure, grounds, and furnishings. Decide on location and cost. If you want money, write down the amount. If you want to break a record in your business, put it down. It may be a sales record. If so, write out the total, the date required, then the number of items you must sell to make it. Also list your prospects and put after each name the sum expected. This may seem very foolish at first, but you can never realize your desires if you do not know positively and in detail what you want and when you want it. If you cannot decide this, you are not in earnest. You must be definite, and when you are, results will be surprising and almost unbelievable. Now, with what Jarrett says here, some people may feel a little uncomfortable because they may start to feel a pressure. But what if I put this down and it doesn't happen by then? But regardless, give it a try and do it anyways. For this is how you will grow, stretch, and develop that success, and thus faith muscle. And also, as you get into the details of things, it helps you to build a more vivid picture in your mind's eye, thus helping you to get more in tune with what it is you want, and thus feel its success already. Now, as you have your successes, Jarrett talks about another phenomena called discredit. As people start to get some of the things on their list, many may say, it was a coincidence. And if you find yourself doing this as well, Jarrett recommends that when such thoughts occur, give thanks and assert credit to your omnipotent power for the accomplishment. By doing this, you gain assurance and more accomplishment, and in time, prove to yourself that there is a law which actually works at all times when you are in tune with it. So as Jarrett said, whenever you think it was just a coincidence, thank that divine power within you. And eventually, this will gel, it will catch, and one day it will click with your conscious mind, and you will know beyond a shadow of a doubt. Now Jarrett says, as with anything, you can reject or accept. But if you reject it, you remain as you are. And if you accept it, you can have anything you want. In closing, Jarrett recommends that you listen to this over and over again and again, and then again, because repetition is a great teacher. For when you leave this video and you go back to your old familiar environment, you may forget. But this video will always be here to remind you until you no longer need the reminder. And Jarrett tells you, memorize these 3 simple rules. And as you continue to do this, you may even come to memorize your list. So test this now on what you want most this minute. And the author himself is said to be highly successful and has seen thousands of lives bettered because this works. Now Jarrett has one last request of you. For those who really do this and stick with it through all your successes, he asks that you share this video or the original book. But for the sake of this video, and you can also share this video with anyone else who might benefit from it, especially those who need it. Jarrett says, in this way, you can help in the distribution of this worthwhile effort to make the lives of others better and happier. You know people who are standing still or who are worried and discouraged. This is your chance to help them help themselves. If you withhold this video or the original book from them, you will lose the conscious satisfaction that comes from doing good. If you see that they view this video or get the original book, then you put yourself in line with the law of life, which says, you get by giving, and you may rightly expect prosperity and achievement. At the very least, you will have the inner sense of having done a good deed, with no hope of being openly thanked, and your reward will come secretly in added power and larger life. Signed, the author. And this concludes my commentary on R.H. Jarrett's It Works, and I look forward to hearing all your success stories. So don't forget to come back here and let us know how it worked for you. Whether you have something to share in a day, a week, a month, a season, or year, your modern-day success stories, testimonials, will help others in need to build their faith. Thank you so much, and have fun making your lists and nurturing them with love and devotion each day.